All right, Oval fans. Well, we only got a couple. Yeah, we got a couple weeks from tomorrow for when season 2 picks up on BET. So I hope you all are excited. As I stated in my trailer breakdown video, I got a handful of videos that kind of branch off from the trailer itself. So just strap yourselves in. Unlike Mod, we'll get there in a second, but thanks for the support. The trailer breakdown video is doing pretty well. Last time I checked, it was knocking on the door of 7,000 views. So once again, thank you for supporting that video. And this had to be the first video I record, and it has to do with Jason. And it seems like he may kill his grandmother, but we'll just have to wait and see. Let's just break it down. So before going forward, make sure you go ahead and like this video. Let's try to get to 100 likes on this video. Hit subscribe so we can reach 200,000 subscribers. Click the bell notification icon and select all. That way you are made aware whenever I post content or do lives on the channel. And finally, follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. And thanks so much. We just recently hit 25,000 followers on Instagram, trying to reach 100,000 by the end of the year. That's going to be my big goal for that particular platform. And without further ado, let's get into it. Now, when it comes to these videos that come after the trailer breakdown, don't expect all the videos to be like 10 minutes longer. So it's pretty much me talking about a particular scene and giving my predictions for where it's going to go in the story, because I got one about Kyle, one about Jean, one about Priscilla versus Victoria. We'll get to that in other videos. But we know that there's a scene on the plane where Jason stands up and Maude tells him to sit down. Then Jason proceeds to choke his grandmother. And the thing is, he opens, I believe, like the emergency, like the emergency hatch for the window. And if you've watched, excuse me, dang. Throat got dry there for a second. If you watch movies like Iron Man 3, when the Iron Patriot's taken over by the Mandarin and they're on the private plane, and there's one of the guys like blast a hole in the side of the plane and people just get sucked out. One has to wonder if Jason pulled another murder. What I mean by that is, he chokes his he chokes his grandmother. And in order to, I guess you could say, get rid of the evidence, he opens the emergency hatch. And Maude gets sucked out of the window. Here's the thing. We do know that Jason goes back to the White House because there is a scene where Victoria's slapping the crap out of him. So let me put it this way. If he opened the emergency hatch, it's like this. We know he's frantic to get back to the White House as soon as possible. Like, he wants to get back because of the Jean situation. It's like, I got a body under my bed. What am I going to do? He's desperate. Now, if you look at how, this video might be 10 minutes because the more I'm looking at my notes, the more I'm like, damn, I should have wrote this down. Think back to what he did to Jean, and I don't want to think about it, but we have to in order to make this theory or discussion make sense. Jason's the kind of person who acts first and thinks later. It's like he'll do something that creates a mess, and then he has to figure out a way to cover up said mess. When what happened to Jean happened, he's like, oh, damn, it's like, you're going to tell. And if you do, that means I'm going to get in trouble, so I need to do something to get rid of the evidence. Obviously, stuffing her under the bed wasn't the best option, but he was on a timetable there. Like, he and his sister had to leave immediately. So it's not like he had, 500 ways to hide the body, because trust and believe, even though he's in the White House, we know that Jason knows the ins and outs of the building. So I think that if given enough time, like let's say if Maude would come the next day, as much as I hate to admit it, I think Jason could have gotten away with it. Yes, I know about the whole cameras and the White, but this creepy ass MF, he would have found a way. He would have found a way to cover up the clues so he wouldn't have been, revealed as Jean's murderer. Now, in the case of Maud, yes, the dude is desperate. He wants to get back as soon as possible. Now, him choking his grandmother, not a smart move, especially if he does kill her, because a couple reasons with that. Now, number one, he opens up the emergency hatch. Now, one has to wonder why he does this. One of two reasons. Number one, like I said before, get rid of the evidence, have the body fly out of the window. Whew, grandma's gone. I don't have to worry about it. But I'm like, well, private plane, I would figure there'd be some kind of cameras or some shit. So I'm sorry, some stuff so people will be able to figure out what happened. Or number two, him doing that was an excuse for the plane to immediately come to a stop and like land at the nearest place they can land for safety purposes. So he's conspiring to figure out a way to go back to the White House as soon as possible. However, I think that he does kill his grandmother. Now, some people have stated, and I went back and watched the trailer multiple times, but I did not catch it because a couple people like Jeremy, it looks like his pants are unzipped or down. So what if he kind of raped his grandma or something like that? And I'm like, that would kind of weirdly mirror what he did to Jean. But I don't think Jason is in the mood for forced intercourse because he is trying to get back to cover up a murder. I think that because he's so desperate and his grandmother is so relentless, he's like, you know what, screw this. If you're not going to do what I tell you to do, I'm going to choke the hell out of you. So I figure that he goes for the choke and then the body goes out of the window. Now, Jeremy, you keep going on about the body going out of the window. Well, what are you talking about? We don't know for sure. We know that he opens up the hatch and things go flying out, which doesn't answer the question of where the hell is Gail? Is she in another part of the plane or what? Here's my thing. This could be symbolism because we know that Victoria's parents are one of the 5 families that run the country. Now, when you think about like gangster movies, supervillain factions and things like that, whenever like, let's say, okay, I'm just going to try, I'm not even going to use like pop culture examples, but I'll try to make it as simple as possible. Let's say there's 3 kings, if you will, 3 kings, and you know, they all divide one country. So, you know, each ruler has a percentage of the country. Now, whether or not it's even, I don't know. Let's just say they all got like 33.3%. Now, they wage war with each other in order to get, well, they don't wage war because think of it this way. If one king tries to go after another king's land, then the third king who's not doing anything is waiting for the battle to be over because, oh, king number 1 killed king number 3. But king number 1's army is exhausted. So king number 2 is going to swoop in, kill king number 1. And guess what? Boom. He rules the entire, dynasty. I hope I'm not too confusing here. But because of one of the 5 families being disrupted, because if something happens to Maud, one has to wonder, okay, will Maud's husband just solo run his portion of the 5 families? Or will it be a situation where Victoria and Hunter have to step up? I don't think so for a couple of reasons, because Hunter is obviously incompetent. And number 2, he's just a pawn. And on top of that, the symbolism here is whenever there's a struggle amongst powerful people like that, aka these kings I said, it's a power struggle. But guess what? In some instances in movies and whatnot, they say it's like a power vacuum. And what does a vacuum do? It sucks. Kind of like, Jason opened up the emergency hatch and it may have sucked his grandmother right out of the plane to her death. See what I did there? So I'm wondering if Jason doesn't kill Maud, I don't think that Maud would just take him back to the White House. I think Maud is probably dead because, think of it this way. Jason went out of his way to choke his grandmother. If she's alive, all hell's going to break loose. I think he actually kills his grandmother. And because of that, him and Gail get to go back to the White House. And then he has to pay for the whole Jean situation. Now, it's unknown now if Victoria figures out what happened to her mother. But when it comes to Jean, she'll know about that. So when it comes to Victoria slapping the hell out of Jason, I think it's about Jean. But if she finds out what happened to her mother, one has to wonder if she'll be happy about that. Because when you think about it, Jason did what she probably always thought but never did herself. But it's one of those things where You go back to the haves and the have-nots. One of Catherine's catchphrases: sometimes the devil you know is better than the one devil you don't. So it's like, even though you may have gotten Maud out of the way, who's to say an even bigger devil isn't just going to come and take her place, whether it be Victoria's father or one of these other 5 families. I mean, well, technically other 4, if you will, not counting Victoria's parents. Let's go back to Ruthless. Lilo, and if you haven't watched Ruthless, go watch it. All 24 episodes of season 1 are on BET Plus right now, as well as season 1 of The Oval. So if you want a refresher before, sorry, I had a brain fart. Sorry. If you want a refresher before February 16th, go watch it on there. But Lilo literally made it clear to the highest, or Tyrone, like, look, you threaten me and everything, you better not, because the cartel I work for knows every time I come to the compound. And if anything were to happen to me, they'll be here on your front door. So it's like, you might think I'm bad, but if something happens to me, someone even worse will take my place. I think the same can be true about Maud. If something happens to her and or her husband, aka Victoria's parents, then it's possible a power vacuum will occur and there'll be a penance to pay. Kind of, Jason is pretty much like Wyatt, making these rash, fatal decisions that will cost his parents a lot. Not just, him, but I feel like his parents are the ones who pay for it the most, but we'll just have to wait and see. But I digress. What do you think? Do you think Jason kills his grandmother? Because, I mean, like I said, he's not thinking straight. He's more focused on what he did in the past and how can he cover it up to avoid future consequences. So he's just going to come up with a quick and easy fix in order to get rid of his grandmother. Because once again, if Maud isn't dead and he opens the emergency hatch and they land the plane, I don't think that's enough to make it so, oh, well, me and my sister get to go back to the White House. She has to be dead for that to make any sense. Because even if Maud is freaked out by the fact that her grandson choked her, but to be completely honest, she does seem a bit freaky, so she might be into that kind of thing. I don't think she would just take them back to the White House. She would nip it in the bud, pun intended. So let me know your thoughts on this theory. I honestly have no words. Like I posted on Instagram earlier today, I hate Jason. I can never forgive him for what he did to Jean. But I have to admit, this crazy psycho is one of the reasons why it's like, okay, I have to watch the show to see what happens next. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Not to mention, what do you think Hunter would say to this? I mean, again, not like he likes Victoria's mother or parents in general, but I do feel like, he and Victoria are both aware of the ramifications of what their son has done, because also Donald knows the 5 families and what they represent, what they're capable of. So again, I feel like there's going to be a power struggle there, power vacuum, and there's going to be hell to pay. So do you think this means we'll finally see Victoria's father in person? Ooh, that'll be interesting. All right, guys, that's all I have for this particular video. If you want to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal, Cash App, or join Patreon for as little as $1 a month. And with that being said, I'll catch you in the next video.